Hey guys, this is Josh Nelson with Nelson Elder Care Law. You're joining us today on Live with a Lawyer every Wednesday at 3 p.m. where we talk about different questions, topics, and tactics that you can learn to be able to better prepare for your future. Here at Nelson Elder Care Law, we help people protect themselves and their loved ones from the curveballs of life. One of the biggest things that people run into, and we hear questions all the time, is I have a will, but it's old. Or maybe it isn't even that old, but I want to make some changes. How do I make sure that it still does what I want it to do? The first thing to remember, which we talk about quite a bit here, is that a will doesn't avoid probate. It only controls what goes through probate. But there's still a lot of people that are very well helped by a will-based plan. If you do have an older will, especially if it's older than like 2012, sometimes even 2017, it might be worth having it checked out just to make sure that the terms in it are what you need it to be. Many wills prior to 2011 have a lot of superfluous or extra language in them because the tax laws were quite a bit different back then. Prior to 2011, wills often created different spousal trusts that, if they are still included in your will have to be created when you go through probate, adding complexity and expense to what should otherwise be a pretty straightforward process. If your will's made prior to 2011, it doesn't mean that it's invalid, it's just harder to use, has more expense, and is going to cause your family more problems. If your will's newer, there's a good chance that it's drafted properly, but of course we always offer you the opportunity to come and sit down with us for free and talk about your current situation. But especially if you have a will that you know needs to be updated because you've had extra kids, you've decided to allocate things for your grandchildren, or because of different life circumstances, you've decided to change other beneficiaries or percentages of what your current beneficiaries receive, it's really important that you do so properly. Unfortunately, a lot of times what we see is people take a pen to their current will, start crossing stuff out, especially percentages, last names of daughters, things like that, and writing in what it should be next to it, thinking that if they write that in and initial it, that it works. Unfortunately, in Georgia, that's not a sufficient way to update your will. Any kind of modification to a will such as that still requires the same execution or the same formalization as the will itself, which means that it has to be witnessed by two people that aren't related to you or beneficiaries of your estate. It also is helpful to have it notarized. And so if you do want to make some changes, often that's what's called a codicil. And so it doesn't mean that you start from scratch. Usually it's just a 1 or 2 page amendment that you add to your will. It's formally called a codicil, and it does have to be witnessed, preferably witnessed and notarized, just to make it easy on everybody. But that's how you make those changes. Often, just to keep it easy on your spouse or your kids, if you are going to make drastic changes, instead of just going in and changing the percentages through a codicil, it's just the same price, just the same ease of execution as doing a brand new will. Whenever we start talking about why would we start from scratch like that, it's just because laws change, things get updated. There were some big fiduciary law changes in 2017 in Georgia. There's some big tax law changes probably coming down the road here soon. And sit down with somebody, again, free of charge to do so, and talk about where you're at, what changes you might want to do, and then what that's going to cost for you is often a good way to get that set up. Here at Nelson Elder Care Law, we can help you do that. Give us a message, shoot our Facebook Messenger a chance. We have a messenger app on our website, or you can give us a call at 678-250-9355. And again, thanks for joining us today. I'm Josh Nelson from Nelson Elder Care Law on Live with a Lawyer every Wednesday at 3 p.m.